Hello, today on Real Estate Divas, we are going to be diving in and talking about the 15 most important steps to keep yourself safe as a realtor or investor while showing properties. Hello, I'm Kristin Gerst with Capricorn Mortgage Investments, and this is my esteemed co-host, Jer'Leigh Thompson, with
Texel Real Estate and Real Estate Reformation. I wasn't sure. I was like, is she going to say it? Am I going to say it? La, la, la. Welcome to Real Estate Divas. Today we're going to talk about tips for staying safe out there. Staying safe whether you're a realtor, whether you're an investor checking out new properties. Obviously, this goes across the board to everybody, but also specifically women.
Most, and very importantly, and how many women realtors do you have working for you?
I mean, they're mostly women. I mean, I would say across the board, we're, as far as realtors nationwide, I think it's somewhere in the 60-70% are women. So this has been something kind of on the forefront as keeping yourself safe. I mean, we all know of instances where things have gone drastically wrong. And I mean, right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, a few years back, there was a terrible incident. So it's really important, and it doesn't get talked about enough.
I agree, and I was shocked by it was said by the National Association of Realtors back in 2019 that about a third of realtors have had a scare.
Yeah.
And I know as an investor, I've personally had a scare, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. But then again, I like a crappy house. So.
Well, that's the thing too. If we're looking for a deal, we don't mind that it's a crack house, but be careful. Like there are things you can do. So we're just going to talk about a couple of those because I've had some scary instances as well. And if you're a woman, you really need to definitely pay attention and prepare yourself.
All right. So number one, most important thing.
Listen to your gut. I can't say that enough. And, it's funny because culturally, and especially in the South, be nice, don't be rude, do this, do that. And you're kind of groomed that way growing up of, the pleasantries and not wanting to offend somebody or hurt their feelings or anything like that. And so then you get away from trusting your gut. And it's a terrible trait to get away from. I mean, there's a reason why it's there. That's an instinct that needs to be cultivated.
So as soon as you feel that there's a possible threat there, get out.
Get out. Yeah. It's the fight, like we were talking prior to this, don't fight or flight. Flight is always better, especially as a woman. Flight is always better.
And I'm sure as a realtor because you've been doing this for a
while.
Long time. Yeah. You've had to have some weirdos.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdos out there, like we discussed. In the you're gonna chime in
this room.
But like in the very beginning, whenever every realtor out there, for the most part, puts their face on their business card. You and I had this discussion. I did, like the first couple of years I did, because that's what I was told I was supposed to do, and you want your clients to know who they're dealing with and blah, 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 blah. But frankly, what I ended up getting from having it on my card is if I meet somebody randomly and they say, oh, I'm interested in real estate, oh, I'm thinking about buying a house, 9 times out of 10, no, they're not.
They're hitting on you.
Yeah, and so then I just get these randos like freaking bugging the crap out of me trying to get a hold of me and pretending to have a deal or pretending to want to buy a deal, and so that got old real quick.
So number 2, stay alert.
Yeah, well, and that one's pretty obvious,
Yeah, don't let them sneak up on you.
Well, and it's a common sense thing, although as we know, common sense isn't that common. But
I gotta be honest. I've met some dumb realtors.
Yeah.
Who had no common sense.
Well, and now with technology and everybody having everything at their fingertips on their telephone, how many people, like just sitting at a bar or sitting in a restaurant, how many times do you see people walk in, they don't even look up They're on their phone and they're doing whatever it is on their phone, and they're not aware of what's going on in that room. And so you never want to walk into a property or meeting somebody to show a property or anything like that and being distracted. You need to be alert. You need to be aware.
But at the same time, with your phone, and a super important thing is make sure it's charged and ready to go if you
Yeah,
need it.
that's one of our biggies as well. Like,
Which people don't think about that.
yep, always keep your phone charged. That one's really important. You know, whereas whenever I got started, not to really date myself, but when I got started, cell phones weren't really that big of a deal.
I didn't have a cell phone when
Yeah.
I got started. Like, I didn't have one.
That's
When
really-
Jerleigh started, she had to make sure she had lantern oil.
Shut your mouth. You know what? Yeah, that you're getting punched after this show. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I didn't have a cell phone when I first started, and then I think it was shortly thereafter that I decided I needed one. I mean, they were out, but they weren't everywhere.
No, and mine had the flip when I first
Yeah.
got it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I put tape on it to keep it from breaking. It
Yeah.
was sad. It's a sad
Yeah,
little phone.
we've
that
come
was,
a long way. We've come a long way.
from that. So, all right, so keep your phone charged, which it sounds like a dumb thing to say, but
It's
a lot of people don't. And
well-
then stay alert. Don't be on your phone texting and looking at stuff when you arrive at a property or with some weirdo stranger who wants to buy a house from you.
Yep.
So he says.
Well, and one thing that I think, yes, it's common sense when we're talking about charge your phone, but a lot of people don't realize, okay, as a realtor or even as an investor, and I'm going to look at, I'm constantly, your GPS, whatever. I prefer using my phone versus my car just because it gives me more options. And I also don't like her voice. It's too loud. It's obnoxious. I don't like my GPS in my car, so she annoys me, so I never use it. I always use my phone, which drains the battery like crazy, like nobody's business. So if you're not charging your phone, I mean, you could accidentally just show up somewhere and your phone's almost dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're meeting these people, how much of a background check should you be doing on them?
That's a little difficult, I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's uncomfortable, and this is where your safety becomes the priority. So you need to get over the uncomfortableness of, hey, I'm coming to meet you. I've never met you before. Yeah, we've done social media or you've sent me, but how many fake accounts do we know that are out there?
Oh,
I mean,
there's
a ton.
tons.
I mean, someone's always getting hacked. Something's happening. Somebody slides into your DM, says one thing, but they're completely, So you might think that you know who they are. Just have them, okay, I'm going to meet you. Take a picture of your driver's license, and not just a picture of your driver's license, a picture
Hold it by your face.
of your driver's license. I want to be able to read it, but I also want to know it's the same person.
It is so smart that you say that, because I just asked for a picture of a driver's license before I would meet anybody at a property, that I might be showing. Just send me a photo of your driver's license.
Yep.
But you can get a photo of somebody's driver's license.
Yeah,
That's
you could just
dumb.
have one in your photo, dump. That's the one I use all
So
the
it
time.
needs to be a selfie with the driver's license,
Yeah.
and then one close up.
Exactly.
I really think that that's an important tip. It's really great.
Maybe that one needs to be the tip of the day. We're gonna
Picture of their driver's license, and then yeah.
I switched to the graphic and y'all
kept talking. Yeah. That's because, the studio's switched up right now. We're in interim, so usually it's right here.
Let's try that
We can
again.
see it.
All right.
All right,
Sip,
one more time.
Sip of the day.
Tip of the day. That's the
We're back.
And we're back.
So I definitely tip of the day is take a picture of you want a picture of their driver's license, but you want also a picture of them holding up that driver's license so you know it's the same person.
I really love that.
And that goes for whether, like sometimes whenever I have rental properties that I'm trying to find somebody to lease them. Well, if somebody contacts me directly and they don't have an agent, I will let them into the property. I'll let them remotely into the property, but I'm going to need a picture of your driver's license and a picture of your driver's license next to your face. Because I want to know who's going in and out of that property, obviously.
It's great. Now, as a realtor or investor, you've got to let your friends and family know where you're going and who you're meeting. Do you text that information to somebody?
Absolutely.
So it's not in your phone. Because if you're locked in a basement somewhere,
Yeah.
And they've taken your phone, it's real hard to get that information to somebody.
Absolutely. Well, I think, I found that every time I did an open house, anytime I'm going to show someone that I'm not exactly familiar with, then I'm going to let either, my spouse know, I'm going to let a coworker know, maybe my broker know, somebody needs to know, and the more the better, Let people know where you are.
Yeah.
Communication is key in, across the board, but let people know where you are. That's going to come in really handy. I get amazed at how many people don't.
Yeah. No, and they just go off and then,
Yep.
I mean, they could completely disappear and nobody would have any clue where they went.
If you're showing multiple homes, well, you're mapping those out ahead of time. You're calling and making those appointments. I know exactly the order of the homes that I'm going to. So snapshot, send it to somebody. Send it to a coworker, send it to another realtor, another investor. Somebody needs to know where you were that day.
That's good. I love the one, drive yourself.
Yep.
A person wouldn't, if they were on a Tinder date, they're probably not going to let this person pick them up. They're going to meet at some public location.
Exactly.
And the same thing holds true for, you wouldn't want anybody getting in your car with you.
I'm always a little, I've always thought of this as a little bit antiquated, as far as drive your client around. It's a little different when we're talking about, you would pick somebody up at the airport, they're in for 2 days, that sort of thing. But even now, most everybody is getting a rental car, they're doing this, they're doing that.
They're taking an Uber if they need to.
But I can probably count on one hand and have fingers left over how many people I've actually driven in my car to properties. It just doesn't
Doesn't
never
happen,
happens.
But it used to.
It used to. I know realtors that still do it. And I'm like, nothing against all the lovely people I work with, but I don't want to have to talk for 4 hours straight with somebody that all we have in common right now is transactions.
Not to mention getting other business done.
Yeah, in between. I got to
between.
respond. I got to do this. I got to do that.
Yeah, do you really want that client in your car for 4 hours?
Yeah, it's just never been my thing. But I know some people are very diligent about making sure their car is clean, they pick them up, they do this, they do that. That's not me.
Right. Yeah, well, I've never done that. I don't want to spend that much time.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing against all you wonderful, beautiful people.
Right.
Yeah.
Just, I don't want you in my car. All right. Carry a self-defense weapon. What do you suggest for a self-defense weapon?
Well, the simplest thing is pepper spray. That one's the simplest thing. It's a deterrent, and really you're trying to, in most cases, get away. You want as little confrontation as possible. So I think pepper spray is a good one. Make sure that you don't hang on to it forever and constantly put it in your purse or on your keychain.
It does expire?
It does expire.
Okay.
Those plastic cartridges will leak. I've had it happen to me in a traffic jam, stuck in traffic. It's leaking off of my keychain, and I'm crying, rolling down the windows going, what is going on? I had no idea it was leaking. It was horrible. So,
So now you carry a cattle prod. Ryan, dive in any time on. He's like, the cattle prod. Tell me more. I'd like to learn more.
As far as the pepper spray, that's a good place to start. Some people have, done tasers.
Is pepper spray legal in all 50 states?
I'm not sure.
Not an attorney.
Yeah,
not an attorney. Okay, so make sure you check with your state. Are you allowed to carry that as a concealed weapon? Because they are. A self-defense weapon is still a weapon.
Yeah. And they can, if you go to any self-defense place or just, Google it and find out where your nearest, facility to pick up that kind of stuff.
Right.
They can explain to you, one, what's legal, two, what's the most handy, what you can conceal the best, that sort of thing. I know a lot of people, we're in Texas, so we have right to carry and concealed weapons and all that kind of business. As far as guns go, yeah, you're allowed to carry one here. You're allowed to have a concealed weapon here. But if you don't use it on a regular basis, chances are it will get used against you if you try to whip it out. It's muscle memory. And especially whenever things are heightened and you're super, you're fearful
Right.
and I don't know what to do, you're not probably going to do the right thing. You're probably not going to handle the gun well. You're probably not going to be very assertive with it, and it could get turned against you. I mean, there's a reason why police officers train as much as they do.
And so you're saying training, self-defense classes,
Exactly.
just to be able to handle yourself with your hands, and then if you decide that you're carrying a weapon, to also train on a regular basis.
Yeah. Yeah, just because I took karate in 9th grade does not mean that I can go out there and freaking karate chop somebody today.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, are you freaking kidding?
I would pay good money to watch you do karate.
Karate.
I would.
But if you don't practice,
I would pay a lot of money
ha,
for you to
yeah.
show up in the gi. and
Yeah.
all of that. Maybe a little Karate Kid headband on.
Yeah, there you go. Wait, let me put on the gear first, and then let's fight. Yeah.
Let me
We'll take
fish out
Divas.
my green belt.
Teaches karate.
Yeah, right? We're going to do a little karate class after this. But again, I mean, that's absurd to think that if you're not practicing it, if you took self-defense 5 years ago, it's not enough. You took it 5 years ago for
Right.
a 5-hour class. I
Right.
guarantee you're not going to be as proficient. If you're not practicing, you're not going to be proficient in that.
Well, and I just hope I never have to outrun anybody that's very fast, because
In those heels, it's not going to work.
in these heels, no. And I mean, and then if we're talking more than a block, a city block,
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose that foot race.
Yeah.
I prefer the
I'm
police officer
I'm
donut.
glad you think that you'll actually make it a block, and then that's when you lose.
I know. I know.
That's very positive. I don't know if I'd make it a block, but yeah, I think take what you're comfortable with, but whatever it is, you need to practice with it, use it. If you get
So I mean, for everybody who's regularly showing houses, this is a serious conversation. If you're going to be a realtor, take it seriously and make sure that you do take your self-defense classes and take, practice classes. If you're going to be carrying a
this
gun,
needs to be-
I would hope you're going to the range and practicing.
yeah, on a regular basis, absolutely.
Sure. So have you heard about all of these new technologies?
I have. Well, not all of them, but I mean, there's definitely some different apps and stuff out there now that I find really interesting. Like they're getting very creative with how to keep yourself safe.
Yeah. The one that I loved was called Palm.
We were talking about that.
Right.
That sounded really interesting.
Well, it's $60 and it's a little thing that hooks onto your keychain that you can keep underneath a table. I think this is also good for women on blind dates, Tinder
Period.
dates. Here you go. And all of a sudden you push the button and you can program it to call your phone. And it can say whatever you want. The phone is coming in from emergency or
yeah, mom emergency.
exactly.
And then, oh my gosh, there's been an emergency.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go. I
Yep.
mean, how many people need that
Absolutely.
in today's society? So at what point would you suggest that somebody use that? I mean, when their alarm is going off and they're going, oh my gosh, I don't know that this person's legit and I'm here in this house alone with them.
Yeah.
I need to get out of here.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I mean, I can think of a multitude of times that would have come super handy for me. I mean, I remember sitting, waiting for some friends, and I got there early, sitting at a bar waiting for some friends. We were about to have dinner, and talking to, random. I talk to people. I'm a talker.
We're Texans.
Yeah.
Of course we
and
do.
so, of course, I'm going to talk to the person next to me. And he ended up being so freaky. Like it was, I was a little taken back how quickly things escalated. But I did get that he lived, somewhere in Garland, near a pond, blah, blah, blah. And so I started texting. I was like, oh, I'm just going to text my friends. I started texting my husband. I'm like, if I go missing, it will be somewhere in Garland, near a pond. I think it's near this place. I'm just like trying to remember as much as possible from that conversation so that, okay, you can find me. Like, what the heck? Not that I was giving up. I would have put up a fight, but you know what I'm saying.
I think the answer to Kristin's question goes back to just point number one, which is always listen to your gut and not be worried about hurting feelings or something.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
with that little button that calls you, it's super great that you can have an out and go, "Hey, I am really sorry. I've got to cut this short. My kid's hurt, something." I mean, even if you don't have kids, you can always say,
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. You can just use the kid
Whatever.
excuse or whatever you want and say, I've got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just leave immediately. I don't think you wait to see what this person does.
No. Just
boom.
I got to go.
I got to go.
There's no discussion. It's an emergency. No, I love that. I love that app or that Palm.
that little palm thing that is just attached to your keychain and boom.
Yep.
And it's not, I mean, as you said, you're like, I've always thought the alarm that would go off or the whistle, right? What do you're alone with this person in the house and you start freaking out like a crazy person blowing a whistle.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all about like in a public place maybe, but most of the time you're not in like a public place per
Locked
se.
in the house with somebody.
Yeah.
So another one, and one of our last ones, does your office have kind of a safe word?
No, but as we were doing research for this, I was like, that's a very good idea, is that there's a safe word that everybody in the brokerage or everybody on your team knows, So if you call or if you text, hey, because one of them that was used pretty often when we were doing our research was red file. And I'm like, well, yeah, that sounds like business.
It does.
Hey, I forgot the red file. I'm at such and such. Can you get it for me? And that's just alerting the people that know you or people on your team or other people in the brokerage where you are and that things are a little uneasy. You're not sure about the situation.
And I think that's good. And maybe even, and just having, the red file, I think it's.
Yeah, and then have a protocol of, then they follow it up with a phone call 5 minutes later of, hey, do you need me to bring the red file to you? Just so that you're in communication and somebody knows, oh, they know where she is, they know how to get here, they're going to come and meet up. So there might be a group. I don't know who's on the other line, whether it's a man, woman, who knows? So just having that engagement and you're not alerting the person that you're with. So it was. I thought that one was really interesting. It made me think of what I could do better to put that out there for all of my agents.
Right.
There should be something in place.
Good. Can you think of anything else?
I mean, I don't. I think that's about it. I mean, I do think that holding. Because a girlfriend of mine who's also a realtor, she and I took self-defense classes together. But again, that was like 5 years ago. I think that it would be good if we started doing that on a more regular basis.
Right.
And just reinforcing, like, this is what you need to do. Here's all the things. Because the more you hear it, the more you remember it. We've got another associate down in San Antonio who's holding a seminar. Bettina, is that this week?
I think it's a Saturday, yeah.
Okay.
So
And that should be great. I mean, she's an ex-police officer.
Yep.
I think it's a phenomenal idea for her to be doing that.
I have a tip, and I don't know if I think you partially covered it, but I think it could be its own tip. It's the never judge a book by its cover, but in the opposite way that we normally think it. Just because somebody looks like they're valid, or they look like they're done up, or they look like they're a good person, there might be some shadiness behind that. So I would
Absolutely.
treat everyone as a suspect.
So attractive people can be serial killers too.
It's not even about serial killer. I'm just saying I would be if
Everybody
you're not,
as a suspect.
If you
Right.
don't
I don't
know
know
that
you.
person, if I don't know you, you're gonna eat my face or something.
So trust no one.
Trust no one.
Well, you know, I mean, don't give anybody the benefit of the doubt until they've proven that they deserve
Right.
it. You know?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. So on that note, y'all be safe out there. If y'all have any tips that y'all want to share or incidences that happened, I mean, real quick, I can tell you one as far as the open house that I did several years back. I was up in Plano doing an open house, and I had the creepiest guy come in, and I was there. You know, it wasn't today's market where I would have 50 people in an open house. This was probably 6 people all day, and I was there for 3 hours, you know? So he was there, and he was there for a solid hour and a half.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, creep. And anyway, the next couple that came in, I was like, I got to show them, I'm going to show them the master. If you want to take my card, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as I got them slightly away from the gentleman that was creeping me out, I was like, would y'all please stick around? He's been here for over an hour. And it's just me. Can you? And they're like, absolutely. Well, we're going to put in an offer. And so that they pretended to want to put in an offer. They stayed with me until the open house closed. So definitely, you know, if you think that there's somebody there that you can pull in and help you out of a situation, do it.
I think it's a strong point. Seek allies.
Absolutely.
You know, because
Absolutely.
I think everybody, especially with females, like as I mansplain this to you, I think every female probably knows what it feels like to, I don't want to say be a victim, but be a target maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So like, but I'm sure people are willing to help you out. Because how many times have you been in a bar where you're like, hey, pretend to be my boyfriend or girlfriend
Right.
real quick.
Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, done. I don't, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, we're not saying there's not great people out there. There's just, you got to protect yourself.
I am. People be shady.
You know, and on open houses, you definitely want people not just to know where you are, but drop by. Like you want friends and family and coworkers.
Come by, come hang out with me.
Come drop by, at least check on me. So
That's very good. And that's
yeah.
great advice. So if you're loving the advice we're giving you, please like, comment, share, and follow us.
Absolutely. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Real Estate Divas, and we will continue to try to put out some good information out there, and pretty soon start interviewing again. I believe we're going to start that next week. I'm Jer'Leigh Thompson with Texel Real Estate and Real Estate Reformation.
And I'm Kristin Gerst with Capricorn Mortgage Investments. Send me your owner finance mortgage notes to buy. I am desperately looking for more paper.
Thanks, you guys.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.